Throughout world history, Japan had always been an isolated country, unopened and uninviting to foreigners except to trade, and even that trade was kept to a minimum by the strict warlords and rulers of Japan. This is all about to change. Matthew Perry's arrival in a single black steamer ship shocked the Japanese to their core, and he demanded the Japanese open up their ports to trade.
I am here to represent the United States of America. I demand that you open your country to trade with us. If you do not comply, I will be forced to pry your little country open to further our interests. I will be back in a year to see if you have agreed to my terms.
We refuse your proposal. Our country does not need your meddling in its affairs. We are better off on our own, and as we've been for the last 1,000 years.
I will be back, and remember, we have guns, steam powering ships that can outmatch your weaponry. It would be foolish to attempt resistance. We will stand by and make or shoot as we see fit if you do not comply.
Sir, we don't have the naval capacity to defend ourselves if Perry makes true of his threats. It is best we just comply with his demands for the sake of our nation's safety.
If I say yes to demands, I would be breaking the long-term tradition of isolation. This is a big risk we must undertake as a country, and the decision may make or break us. Let me set forth a referendum asking whether other officials support the decision or go against it.
And so, Matthew Perry sailed from Japan to China to conduct his various businesses of American imperialism. As promised, he returned 1 year later to Japan to see if the Japanese had agreed to his demands. 1 year later.
Have you decided to accept our deal?
I've talked to my advisors and the people of my country. We've agreed to your terms, every single last one of them. Let our supposed friendship begin here on this day at this time.
What a wise decision from a wise leader. I assure you the United States only wants to benefit you of trade opportunities.
This was the moment that Japanese revolutionaries were waiting for. They had long sought to replace the old Tokugawa government, whom they viewed as weak and corrupt, with a brand new westernized one in hopes of imitating the Western country's success.
Alas, the time has come. Do you not see it? Those Western barbarians may be inferior to us culturally, but they have weapons of power our mind cannot even imagine. If we were to somehow reproduce that technology, it could be another golden age on the horizon.
Our emperor was weak to hesitate the American proposal. Through the Western world, I have seen governments built to serve the people. Our emperor wishes to keep us in his power, but only speaks to benefit himself. He is a traitor to Japan.
And so a brief but violent uprising began against the Tokugawa government, in which the Tokugawa emperor was deposed of and a rebel-favored emperor, Emperor Meiji, taking his place.
Since the Tokugawa shogunate has been overthrown, I will become the new emperor through will of the people. I will set forth reforms of both westernization and industrialization, particularly economically and militarily. I will turn Japan into a global power, much like the Western European countries and the United States. I will use this newfound power to deter Western aggression, in addition to promoting trade and modernization to keep Japan a global power. Power to the people!
The newly sworn-in emperor, Emperor Meiji, wasted no time in pushing for westernizing reforms.
At last, this oath will set the guidelines for Japan's reform. Our society and government will be transformed and reinvented with new constitutional and legal changes. It has been too long in our hesitation to pursue Western ideals. I have to say, I admire their culture very much.
This single document is the core of our transformation. First, assemblies will be widely established, and public discussions will be held to make decisions.
I believe all classes would benefit from uniting and vigorously carrying out the administration of affairs of state. In addition, these common people should be allowed to pursue their own calling.
The evil customs of the past are no longer viable. Instead, we should look forward to the Western idea of laws of nature instead.
Finally, we seek knowledge throughout the world to strengthen the foundations of our imperial rule. We will put this all in a document called the Charter Oath.
And so, the factories of Japan rose out of the ashes, aided by the Americans, and outpoured textiles, military uniforms, and firearms. Japanese nationalistic and imperialistic ideas were catalyzed by industrialization.
Our factories shall mass produce everything we need. We will become the dominant power of Asia with these factories, and our enemies shall tremble before us. Our men and women will serve this country gloriously and set forth a new golden age.
Yes, we can, for Greater Japan.
There were some pockets of resistance to the new government, however, but the newly reformed military crushed them. Japanese family life was drastically changed by the so-called Meiji Restoration.
So, those new changes introduced by the Japanese government transitioning from agricultural economy to industrialized economy will all be for the better.
Yes, it will, especially because women are now in the workforce. This will be advantageous for family finances.
Mom, when I grow up, will I have to be working in factories?
Most likely, yes. That's the way it looks right now.
Well, with Japan's new educational system, we'll have more opportunities to grow and prosper.
What if I want to explore the world and beyond the waters that surround Japan?
Well, in the old Tokugawa shogunate days, the country was so isolated that you weren't allowed to leave or enter the country, and it was reinforced by strict regulations and an ocean surrounding Japan. The new government in charge of Japan today has issued reforms calling for trade and modernization. To this day, you can see foreign ships leaving and entering Japan on an hourly basis, bringing in Western goods, ideas, and culture.
But Dad, are these changes okay with the Kojiki and the Nihongi?
One big emphasis of Shintoism is Japan's superiority. Of course, this will change because of the contact with foreigners. But if we continue with these changes, Japan will be superior.
Are Westerners kami too?
Well, in our culture and religion, the kami are chosen by the gods. The Westerners have different ideas of religion, particularly Christianity.
It's so strange to see Christians walking about these days, when not too long ago they would have been killed.
You know what is my favorite part about this westernization and these modern reforms? Women are moving up in the social hierarchy, especially because they work in the workforce. This might lead to positive changes in women's direction.
That would be great. Equality between women and men in Japan would bring us great prosperity.
Whatever our leader truly intends to do for our country, I hope it will be for the better.
Just the other day on the street, I saw a new kind of art called Japanism influenced by Westerners. Even Vincent Van Gogh decided to invent a wooden color palette.
Yes, this is really amazing. We should fit some of that in our house.
Did you know that the Russians intend on fighting us over Manchuria for purely imperialistic purposes? We'll see if they are a match for our Western-style army that we have recently developed.
I think that we will beat them if the war comes.
You know, all of this was started by a U.S. Navy admiral named Matthew Perry, who came to our shores and demanded through force that we open our ports for trade. That was a huge wake-up call for the Japanese government. We launched reforms and mass industrialization the world has never seen before. This is why Japan is one of the most dominant Asian countries in the region, and will continue to be for the next 1,000 years if we continue this.
Yes, the Meiji Restoration has brought great changes, and I think Japan will continue to be a global power.
Let the new era continue in its path. May God help us all.
Sir, we do not have the naval capacity if Perry decides to make true of his threats. It's just best for the sake of our nation if we just
Okay, we can't put that one in.
Action?
I've talked to my advisors and
John C.
And here are our credits.